Hey, what's up guys? Deadly Crab here. With the upcoming changes to patch 7.11, I wanted to go over some of these proposed updates so far as what it's looking like for bot lane and how this is going to impact the meta. And a big champion right now that's really strong in the bot lane is Lucian. And I think these Lucian nerfs that are coming up is really going to help bring him back down to earth. Now, the change that they're proposing right now is they're going to change his mana on his Q, which is a big part of gaining an advantage in lane as Lucian. So it looks like with every point you put into your Q, the mana increase is going to be an additional 5 mana from what it was before. And this is really going to impact his trading in lane. Now, normally the typical trade that you like to use as Lucian is either poke through minions with your Q, or you want to dash into the enemy champion when cooldowns are down, use your passive, and then use your Q and passive again, and then exit the trade. So if you think of it like this, if you normally cast your Q about 5 times between levels 3 and level 5, you're using an additional 60 mana than what you normally would have, and this is nearly a 13% increase from what it was before. Now it doesn't sound like a lot, but over time, let's say you're doing this from levels 3 to 7, this is really going to add up and really deplete your mana pool and your ability to stay in lane and continue dominating and zoning the enemy champion out of farm. And Lucian already struggles a lot with mana problems right now, especially early game, and even more if you build Blade into Black Cleaver, which right now is the best build on Lucian. Think of how many times there's been a failed tower dive against you that you couldn't punish because you were low on mana, or a small skirmish in your bot jungle that you try to rotate to, but you can't do much because you're already at 30% mana or below. And this is just going to make it a lot worse. You're going to have a lot more of those situations where you can't contribute to either a rotation to a skirmish or stay in lane and continue dominating and building that farm advantage because you need to either not poke as much, not fight as much, or you need to base more so you can replenish your mana. This is just really going to hurt his early game dominance. And because of this, I think this is going to bring a resurgence out of the crit build for Lucian. And especially right now, since mid-season patch, they made crit builds a lot cheaper to do. They give you an extra basically 400 gold if you're building Essence Reaver into IE, which is your core item base on crit Lucian. And this is also really going to help with the struggling mana problems of raising the mana cost on the Q, what this nerf is proposing. And we're going to see a good curve for Lucian. It's not going to be just a really big power spike on his 2 items. It's going to be a good spike into the whole game. And if you've ever built crit Lucian, especially in the meta now, you really can tell the difference with the early game dominance, not having that blade active to run people down if you get ahead, but you're going to see a lot more output in the late game with these crit items. Now, I don't think this nerf is going to kill Lucian. He's still going to be Lucian. He's still going to be really dominant in the early game, but I do think this is going to help us see a different side to Lucian with that crit build coming out than what we've seen a lot in the last couple months with this Blade of the Ruined King build. Which leads me to my next point, which is the upcoming proposed changes to Blade of the Ruined King. So right now as it stands, the change is looking like it's going to nerf the lifesteal from 15% to 12%, and the minimum on-hit damage is going to be changed from 20 down to 15. So what does that really mean? So obviously there's going to be less sustain in lane and also in fights for majority of AD carries, since almost all of the meta AD carries right now are building Blade of the Ruined King first item. And I think this is going to lead to a lot more Bloodthirsters being built out of these crit champions like Caitlyn or Jinx, since right now there's going to be an 8% lifesteal difference between Bloodthirster and Blade of the Ruined King, which really adds up when you're doing late game damage with a crit build. And as far as the on-hit damage nerf, it's not going to affect the item too much. The reason being is Blade does 8% of current health as bonus on hit physical damage, so this change is only going to matter if the enemy is below 200 HP. Now, I don't see this change nerfing the item out of existence, but it's really going to affect your dueling potential, which is a pretty big deal on champions like Lucian or even Twitch if you're trying to ambush somebody with your Blade of the Ruined King active. Those are the situations where you're going to see this change and you're really going to feel this change. But outside of that, besides just the lifesteal nerfs, I think this is okay. It might bring this item back down to earth, which is what we really need right now, especially with how dominant this item has been for the last few months. And I think Riot is trying to push crit build AD carries back into the meta between the changes they made with mid-season, with making it cheaper to build, and then also nerfing Blade of the Ruined King, which is a big part of AD carries builds right now. So I predict in the future with this next upcoming meta, I do think we're going to see a lot more crit champions. We're going to see a lot more jinxes in our games. We're going to see a lot more sivers. I think that might be a good pick that's going to be coming up here soon, especially with tanks getting stronger. That was always a really good composition to run if you speed up your tanks. And I really think that this is really going to shake things up for the better. So the next thing up on the Riot nerf train is going to be to Ninja Tabi, which I am so excited about. I am thrilled that we're not going to see games with 5 Ninja Tabis. So the change is looking right now, they're going to nerf it by 2%, which isn't a big nerf, but hey, I'll take it. Anything at this point to make this item weaker is a blessing for anybody who plays AD carry. And I still think this is going to be a decent item for some AD carries to build, especially if you get behind in lane or you're facing somebody like a Draven or even a Caitlyn whose auto attacks deal a big part of their damage. It's still going to be a decent buy for you. I'm really hoping that this change sways some of these tanks from building Ninja Tabis in every game because it is such a pain in the ass to deal with. So the thing that I'm most disappointed about in this upcoming patch is definitely the changes to Caitlyn and the synergy that she has with Runans right now. So they're going to slightly nerf Caitlyn's base attack speed, which just shows that Riot thinks she's too strong right now just by flat nerfing a base stat. That really shows that they just kind of want to bring her back down to curve with everybody else. But the big change that is really going to hurt Caitlyn is the extra bolts from Runans is no longer going to stack her passive. And this is really going to hurt her damage output in team fights and in late game. Her ability to stay at a safe range and put out massive amounts of damage with those headshots is a big part of why she's so scary late game. And I think this nerf is really going to hurt her a lot. The ability to have 2 or 3 autos automatically proc your passive is huge. And now you have to do the full amount of auto attacks before you get that next headshot. And I think this is really going to hurt her. I think she might even fall out of the meta completely. Now, she's still a good pick because she's Caitlyn. She has the highest auto attack range in the game, and she's always a good choice for beginner AD carries. But at higher elos, she's not going to be a viable pick in my opinion. I think there's better AD carries out there right now. Twitch is a good example. I think Jinx or Sivir, like I said before, are going to be upcoming picks that are really going to surprise some people that are going to replace Caitlyn for that late game crit damage. Now I can sit here and go on and on about the changes to the other champions or the other item changes and how they're going to impact bot lane, but I really don't want to make this a 20-minute video. I really want to focus on the direct changes that are happening. So all in all, this patch, it's really nerfing the strong AD carries right now, which it's good for the meta. It's going to see a lot more AD carries being picked. It's going to cause for more diversity, but the people who are abusing these champions, like myself, are really going to hurt after this patch. And I'm excited to see this new meta come about. I think this is going to be exciting for bot lane to get a change up in some things. I think Twitch is going to be a really good pick upcoming. Jinx and Sivir are going to be good. Kallista's going to be completely out now that they completely nerfed Blade, but it'll be interesting to see what is coming out of this. So yeah, I want to thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate you staying till the end of it, and I really hope you have a great day.